Tired of the hype about living the dream? It's time for truth. This is the place for tools, power, and real talk so you can create the life you dream and deserve. Your ultimate life. Subscribe, share, create. You have infinite power. Hello and welcome to this episode of Your Ultimate Life, the podcast created especially to help you create a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy by serving with your gifts and your life experience. Today's one of the Thursday episodes where I have a couple of coaches on, and we're going to talk about what AI is going to do to the coaching industry, or actually already is, because it's now 10 months since I started this topic and lots of changes. Today, I have a couple of very important people with me that I'm delighted to have on the show. LoriAnn, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kellan. Honored to be here.
Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate you having us on.
You betcha. So I'm excited. And like I said, this is not really structured in any way. We're just going to talk about this technology. And what's interesting to me is over the 6 months I've been doing this, the conversations have changed quite substantially, in terms of what people think, what they're doing, not doing, why, and all that stuff. So, that's been fun for me. To kick us off, I'll just ask a question, and each of you can answer it in your own way, and then we'll just kind of go from there. LoriAnn, you happen to be on my upper left, so we read left to right. You get first. Are you using AI? And if you are, how are you using this in the context of your mentoring, coaching, advising function?
Yes, I use AI daily. And I started right off the bat really early. My son called and said, "Mom, you got to do this. Get on here, get started with it." And he works in IT, and he said, you are going to need this. So what I've been using it for is, if I've got somebody that is going through one of my programs, then I'll put their information in there. I don't have to put their name, but I can put the information that I'm working with them. And then I run it through a series of like explanations so that then I can best, serve them in, a way that they need. So they'll ask me questions, I'll ask them questions. And I've also gone pretty deep trying to create apps or something that will really make it easier for the people that I'm working with or talking to, that it will make it easier for them to go through the process they're going to go through without AI lying to them or making up something that, is so fabricated and way out there. So I can buffer that.
Do you, have you created some apps or any apps?
I'm working on one, and I haven't created it all the way, but it really is like, it's got to get more narrowed down. But it's to help them create their ideal life. And I work with them in 5 different areas. And so if I can get them dreaming and get their mind thinking and give them some ideas, then I think the app will really be able to take them in a better direction.
Cool. So I have more questions on that, but I want to hear from Amy. So Amy, are you using AI? And if so, how and what's going on there?
I do use it. I probably don't use it as much as LoriAnn. And I also have someone that helps me from a marketing standpoint, like social media. She uses it all the time to share my messages out there. So I have people on my team that are using it. I do use it sometimes with my clients to ask questions or go a little bit deeper. So I'm probably, and also just creating stories. Sometimes there's like messages that have been helpful to me that I want to pass on to my clients. And so I have some things on my AI, and I worked with a coach that gave me some programs so I can create the stories in there that help people to take the messages and use them in their life. So I've used them in that way. And also even just like business plans um, ideas of like how I can create a community. Because I think with all of the AI that's happening, I think more people are going to be wanting to be a part of a community and that human connection and touch. And so I'm looking at how am I going to shift my business in a way that will help serve the masses more.
Cool. Do you have you created anything for your clients to use, or is this something you're using during a session or afterwards to think for them and then you send them stuff? Like, how does that work?
Well, like for instance, I've got some clients that have their own business and they were wanting to hire some people. So I helped them to really get clear on what they're wanting to attract in the type of personnel employees. And then I used AI to help even create the ad to bring the people in. So I don't use it during my calls, but whatever comes up, if there's any type of additional support that I can help them with, then I can use AI to either have better questions, better descriptions, and just help them get the things done that they need in their business.
That's really good. So I'll just throw a question out, and I don't care whose answers it first. Have either of you used AI like really intentionally to coach you? Like, here's something I'm dealing with. Here's what I think, this or that, whatever, and like ask it, instructed it to operate in that mode. Have you ever tried that?
Go for it, Amy.
Uh,
Yes, I have. I
cool. What
have.
did you find?
I found it gave me, well, and I also just want to preface this by saying I think that the AI is only as good as what questions and information you give it. So I have downloaded my Blameless book and it knows my language. It knows how I help people to elevate, their energy states because I really help people manage their emotions and feel their self-worth. So it has my information in it. So when it talks back to me, it's like me talking to myself. So it's I have and my husband passed a couple years ago and I have started dating. So I have had relationship questions because I had this amazing marriage. He was my everything partner, and now I'm dating someone that's very different. I know not to compare because I've coached my own clients through grief.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I was asking some relationship questions so that I could get perspective because I knew I needed, I have a lot of emotions that I've been processing through the grief and being able to continue to move forward. And so, yes, I have used it regarding relationships, and it's always telling me I don't need to figure everything out right
Right.
now.
Right.
Right. And just one day at a time, which I absolutely love. So I teach my clients a lot about presence and learning to tune into their guidance. And I find that my AI does that for me because it knows me, because I put things in. And then, so yes, I have used that. And sometimes if I get overwhelmed, I might say, what do I need to do to get back on track? So it's a nice, helpful tool, but I also really love my people. Like my son is an engineer and he's like, Mom, AI is not accurate. Like, do not rely on it. It's only got so much percentage. It does not give you correct answers. So he's always he's creating things that are going to be coming out in the future. And so he's always giving me the like, don't rely on it completely. And so I'm very mindful when I use it. I'm like, it's just for the moment to give me perspective, but I don't I don't completely trust it as a consultant or real life person. But I have found it to be helpful.
Have you ever asked it a question or been down one of those rabbit holes? Because I've done it too. I have a whole library of threads, and I use it for a lot of different things. And one of them is just called coaching. And and so my question to you is, have you ever had it in that context when you're instructing it to be a coach and you've asked it a question, come back with stuff that just like either makes you mad or really surprises you?
My A is pretty nice. My AI is very soothing, which that, it's a very kind AI. And I have a friend who is very intense and it will feed it back exactly the way its personality is. Or I have another friend who says, I'm really vulnerable right now. Can you be easy with me when you give me this feedback? Like you can give it information and tell it how you want it to respond based on, and my son always says, you need to be really careful. You're creating a bubble and you can't see beyond it if you don't have really good feedback on it. It can distort things for you.
Sure.
And so I went to a summit and this guy spoke on AI and he said, some people are really becoming dumber because they are totally trusting AI, but others are getting smarter because they're challenging AI. So when it gives you an answer, you challenge it and you make it ask more questions and help you get smarter. So you can either get dumber by it or you can get smarter by it. So I found that to be very interesting and helpful to just, keep in perspective.
Cool. So, LoriAnn, have you done that? Have you used it
Yes.
to coach you?
I am laughing so hard right now because I would put things in there and I did what Amy did too. I put my book in there. I made it so that it knows how I speak. And then I'll challenge it and I'll say, you are lying to me. This is not the truth. Like, I want facts. Like, give me scientific facts. Like, sometimes I'm like having this, like, I don't know, conversation back and forth. Like, you are not giving me the right answer. Like, come on, I need you to da da da. So I do have some fun with it.
Good.
Amy's is very nice. There are days that she'll send me some little things that it has said on hers, and it's like, man, you have got the sweetest AI ever.
It's programmed and
If it's
you're
programmed,
it's
exactly.
programmed to be affirming and to be nice. And so you have to tell it not only once, but occasionally remind it how you want it to help you. And
Exactly.
the idea of relying on it too much is absolutely true. And we hear these stories of somebody suing Sam and whoever the heck it is because it made him do whatever. And we all know nobody made anybody do anything, but we allow ourselves to be dragged into things without boundaries. And so, yeah, giving it boundaries and teaching it. Just like you, I've done the same thing. And I started a thread called 1 million words once. And I put books in there and podcast transcripts and on and on. And later it came back and said, try 5 million. Not 1 million, 5 million words. And I thought, okay, I guess so. And so, yeah, no, I have that. And it has my entire library of books and dozens and dozens, thousands, hundreds, not thousands, hundreds and hundreds of other transcripts and things in there. So sound like me? Yeah. And
Yeah.
of course. All right. So when you think about using this, so we're focusing on coaching. And the thing I posited in the book was that by Christmas of 26, which when I wrote it was 16 months away, and now it's only 9, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, 9 months, that 95% of coaches wouldn't be able to make a living unless, and there was a bunch of unless out there. And I posited that based on the state of what's passing for coaching right now and had been for many years. You still see ads. I haven't seen one in the last month, but a month ago, I still saw an ad for somebody sitting on a lawn chair on a beach with a laptop saying, become a life coach, make money from anywhere, help people, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, because that's exactly the thing that AI is going to eat because it thinks faster than we do and writes better than we do. And all of the procedural and even framework and book knowledge, all of that's going to be done better and faster, not only in coaching, but in most areas. But there are some things that it cannot do. And when I was doing the research, I finally said, okay, all right, you can do all this stuff and you're better at this. Yeah. And then I said, what do you suck at? Like, what are you going to fall on your face at? Right. And so we had that conversation, and maybe later I'll tell you what it said because it was interesting. But right now, I want you to think about that. What do you think AI means for both the quality and relevance of coaches? If anything, I mean, you can say nothing at all. I don't know. But what do you think this amazing tool means for both the quality and the relevance of the coaching profession?
I think it's been very helpful, but I agree with you. I think there's going to be a lot of, coaches that haven't made it, that aren't going to make it. But the part that I think people really are desiring, that I've been seeing through all the people that I've worked with in many different countries, is they want a community to belong to. They really want that human, even if it's like this on a Zoom, but with the human connection of real people, or the retreats. Like even Amy and I have been talking about that, putting retreats, get-togethers, like more people are wanting to come together. The isolation has destroyed some of that in people's lives, and they're not quite sure what they're missing. And so I believe there will be some struggles with that, and that we need to help each other out. We need to work with each other and have that human connection.
Amy, what do you think about that?
Well, I think AI can be helpful. I also think you have to be very careful with it. And I think it's how you use it. And it's only as good as what you input into it and for what it gives you back. So I think as you stay wise about it, I think it can be a very beneficial thing. It can get things done and write things so much better and faster from that place. I think it's great, but I think we need to be careful about replacing it with the human connection and community and relationships. I think life is all about relationships and being seen and witnessed and heard, and our stories. And so I think we need to make sure we are keeping that intact for our own joy and happiness.
Well, I love that. And now I'll tell you what AI said when I asked it what you can't do. What do you suck at? And that's literally what I said. What do you suck at? And it came back and it gave me a list of things, and it was quite good at analyzing itself. But the thing that it said that just hit me right dead center is it said, I can't bleed. It was like, okay, now we're somewhere. So since the reason, I think, this is just my opinion, but it is foundational and borne out by the analysis I did of all those coaching models. You're right, both of you. The truth is we change best when we feel seen and we feel led by someone who is in truth. And so what it makes me feel like is, okay, the only thing that will be left, and I want to hear you guys' opinion. So the question will be, what do coaches need to do to be AI proof? And I don't mean proof because I expect us all to use it. But the only thing that we have left is the truth of who we are, the essence of our being, because everything else we're just sort of talking about something we know, a book we read, a framework, a cool set of steps, meditations, reflections, frameworks, lists. It's all that thing over there, and they may be valuable, but if that's what we've got, we're finished. We're off the table because AI is going to bring that in spades from 57 things we never saw. And all that's left is that truth of, the energetic connection, the being, the essence, whatever you want to call it, that is like we have to be the embodiment of what we teach. Otherwise, we've got no power. So what do you guys think about that in terms of coaches, like the ones you know, the ones you've seen, and the profession in general?
I think the coaches that don't fully rely on AI for their confidence and their self-worth and they remember who they are, their message, their experience, and why they're doing what they're doing. I mean, when I teach authentic alignment, and I think when people are fully authentic and aligned with their purpose and what calls them, and they're doing what they love and they're sharing that, they'll find their way. If you don't have that and you're relying on AI, you're going to fall flat on your face.
How
So
many, I'm sorry, finish.
that was it.
So how many percentage-wise of coaches? Because when I ask people this question, and I do a lot because of this, and I have hundreds of these conversations, coaches will say to me, "Oh yeah, it's a human connection. I know AI can't replace that. I got that." You know, and there's nothing energetically truthful in that exchange of conversation. And so my question, and I'm going to come to you and LoriAnn in a minute, but how many people actually have that alignment, know who they are, why they're here, and what they truly stand for? Amy, what do you think? How many actually have that?
I think it's a smaller number than we think. I think it's a very small number. And I'm also going to say life changes. You know,
Mm-hmm.
who I was in my identity with my partner of 17 years, I'm still the same person. And so, but I'm having to create new identities and purpose. And can I still do it without him beside me? And so I think life changes, and we're constantly needing to check in and recognize who we who we are becoming, and we have to keep up to speed with what life has brought us. And so not everybody is conscious, aware, or even wants to look at themselves and keep developing themselves. I think it's more, I mean, I've been a coach for 18 years, and I was like a pioneer, like there was not coaches when I got started, and now they're everywhere. However, when I went into coaching, it changed my life so much because it made me look at myself and gave myself a new identity and self-worth, even more. And I remember thinking everybody should become a coach, because a coach is someone who is conscious, aware, and wants to be their best version and help others become their best version. And so I think I don't know that there's that many people, because they're busy with life. They've got stresses, especially after COVID, and the world is changing. Structures are falling down. Old structures are falling down. And so there's so many new things, but I think this is the time of awakening where more people are wanting to get to know themselves, because you have to in this day and age to keep enjoying life and feeling the connection and purpose.
LoriAnn, what do you think about that?
What came to me while you guys were talking is I personally was with somebody yesterday helping her get through something. And she's a coach. We use AI, both of us. We've got programs, systems in place, everything like pretty like high intense programs that, we've both done, we've built, we've wrote books. And was working with her, and there's something with her relationships that were just not, that was really what was blocking her. Like she didn't even know where the block was. And that's the part that I don't think AI is going to be able to come up with what it is that is our block, because a lot of times we're not being honest what we're feeding it. And so if we can't get really deeply honest about what we're feeding it, and I think like this, what we're talking right here, you can get pretty deep and get pretty honest with yourself and with other people. But it's like Amy said, you've got to ask the right questions. You've got to be in tune. You've got to be kind of aligned. And when we're asking AI those questions and we're not really, really feeding it what's honestly going in, I finally was able to like dig a little bit deeper with her. And I don't ever, ever, ever do this with my clients usually, But I just said to her, we're going to kneel down and we are going to pray. I just said, go by your couch and I want you to kneel down, and I'm going to kneel down. And it was a pretty emotional, spiritual like experience that we both were able to have with each other. And we were just on WhatsApp on the phone. But, she really was able to break through some things that there is no possible way AI could do that. It's just that where's that block? Where's that constraint inside of you that really is holding you back from just really like getting to that next step or getting you unstuck? And it's with, people like us that we can tune in. We can really, we really can tune in to people. So that, I don't know if that answered your question, but
It answers it perfectly.
that's the thought that came to me while you guys were talking, was just my experience yesterday. And I share that very lovingly, very lightly, because that is not a normal thing that I do with people. But in that moment, it is exactly what we needed to do, was get on our knees and pray.
AI knew the answer. It couldn't do what you said. I can't bleed. And that's what you showed. Yeah. So then when I think about coaching, I think of three things that are going to prevent coaches who are not operating at the level of inspiration, intuition, and embodied presence. Like if you or I, if we are not the product of the product, if we are not the embodiment of what we try to teach, we got nothing, because all the rest is talking about a thing. So here's the three barriers I see. One, the coaches that are going to put all of them, the big middle part out of business. Number one is the head in the sand problem, which is pretending it isn't happening and saying things like, yeah, it's the human thing. I got that. You're going to be off the board before you know what happened. The second thing is, I call it the anti-problem. Picture yourself in a casino and there's all these blackjack tables and they're all like $10 tables, and you go to sit down and all the blackjack tables are full of robots. And the only place that there's a chair is in the high roller room, and the ante's $10,000. I think the ante to get into this profession at the level that matters has just gone way up, like way up, because of what's required. And the third reason is, and both of you, I think, have said or alluded to this, this is an ongoing thing. This is a mountain without a top. But if I or you as a coach am not consciously and intentionally, personally climbing the mountain, my ability to be able to help somebody is going to be really limited.
Right. Because
I am not that thing. So head in the sand, the anti-problem, and the fact that this is hard work. This is not a trivial thing to require to choose. Right. So those are the things that I think are going to wipe out the whole stuff that used to pass for coaching, except for the top, I guessed 5%, and I don't know what the number is, but something like that. So if either of you have a reaction to that, please say so. And if not, I have another question.
Time will tell, right?
Yeah, time is already telling, because I started this, I made that prediction 16 months when it was 16 months, and now it's only 9. So 7 of those have gone, and I'm seeing it faster and more. I've got 2 friends that are coaches that have already got coach bots, right? And I've got a developer building a Coached by Kellan bot with my 5 million words and a bunch of stuff. And we're working on the behavioral layer and a bunch of other things that I didn't know existed until I started trying to do this as a tool for clients in between sessions, not to replace the essence that you guys have both described. Well, what do you see as the pitfalls? What do you see as the scary?
Exactly what you just said. That's scary. That, you have to put all of you in there, create you, and then you've got this bot that is you. That's scary. That's scary for people.
So tell me what's scary about it.
I'm kind of excited about trying it, but and I have a team that I'm working with that they're putting that together for me. But it's like, wow, like I said, you just got to put it all in there and put it all out there. And then what does AI do with that? Like, it's that unknown. Where does that go into the cosmic part of the universe?
Amy, do you see pitfalls or problems for the business of coaching? I mean, we could launch off into Skynet and the singularity and a bunch of other stuff, but we're not going to do that. We're just talking about coaching now. What do you see as the potential problems, if any, as this tool develops more and more?
Well, I think it's how you use it. I think it shouldn't replace the human, like our ability to tune in and receive insights and guidance and to give perspective and to help people truly see themselves on a whole higher level and to elevate who they are and help them become who they're supposed to be in the world, because we're all here for a purpose. And when we step into that, I think the world becomes a better and better place. But I think we can't rely completely on AI. It doesn't have those kind of insights and divine guidance. And so to use it properly is the key. But I think there could be people that use it in ways that aren't serving people. And I think we need to continue to serve the highest good for our clients and the people. So I think that's the pitfall if you rely too much on it and lose your values and your integrity.
So what I think I'm hearing you say is if I don't continue the rigors of personal development, where I am personally taking both responsibility and action to continue to climb the mountain of growth and development, and I rely on the wisdom of the machine to substitute that for me, then I'm in trouble.
Yeah, I think that makes us lose our own confidence and our own connection, like our own connection. Not when we're relying on something else outside of ourselves, we lose our confidence. And I think that the key is knowing your strengths and knowing what you're here to do and utilizing AI to help you become that, not letting it do it all for you.
So I love that. Knowing what you're here to do. I have a thing called the triple helix, which is like a 3-strand of DNA to help people discover that magic purpose and stuff like that. And it sounds like you have a method also. What do you, if each of you could give some kind of a specific, I'm inviting you to be specific, and you're automatically right just because it's what you think, because that's what I'm asking is what you think. If you were to give the very best counsel or advice to someone who is either a coach and is not one of the three, they're thinking, oh, wow, I want to be in this business. I call it the people encouragement business or blind spot protection service or whatever. If you want to be in that business, what kind of advice would you give someone who's either starting or who's already in but realizes they haven't been paying enough attention to that embodiment piece?
Get a coach. I mean, really, some of the best coaches have the best coaches that they're working with. And so if you are just starting out, get with a coach who already is doing AI, who's like, get with somebody who you trust, who you connect with, and pay the money and dive in. Invest in yourself, but invest with somebody who really knows and understands this and is using it.
I always have said for a long time, way before AI, that a coach without a coach is a fraud.
Yeah.
And the reason, and people get pissed off when I say, "Arr," and I say it in all sincerity and without rancor, but because if I am not willing to go through the process I am providing or subjecting my clients to, then who am I?
Yeah.
Right? Amy, what would you tell somebody? What would be your heartfelt guidance to somebody who's maybe already in it and says, I got to shape up here or I'm going to get wiped off the board?
Well, I would just encourage them to address their fears. When we address our fears and get real with ourselves and say, what is it that I really enjoy doing? Because I think it's about following your joy, like what lights you up. And it's really taking that time to get to know what are you really here to do. And if you can't do that on yourself, I completely agree with LoriAnn. Get yourself a coach. That I always say, find someone who's living what you are wanting. They've already experienced that. I wouldn't take advice from someone who has an awful relationship, um, about relationships. You know what I mean? Like, so you find someone who is living the life that you want, and you gain perspective to find your way. So I have coaches. All my friends have become coaches. Like, I have the most amazing people around me. And so, like, who you surround yourself with matters. So make sure the people you're not surround yourself with people that want to do good in the world and want to help you see yourself, and your purpose in life, and help you become that, because that to me is the most important thing.
Thank you. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I have a question. What set of events caused you to choose this profession? And I'll share just I had a career 30 years in the energy industry from 77 to 2007, and I got to be, big shot and all that stuff in the United States and in Canada in different companies. And yet I was living a difficult and battle-strewn life. And some things happened in 2007 that made me walk away from all that and start all over again, realizing that I had to do that. And that had nothing to do with coaching. But as I started doing work, making commitments and working on myself to understand how I got where I was and what to do about it and where I wanted to go and all the things that we talk about in coaching, what happened was, number one, I started getting better and was excited and blah, blah, blah. And then there rose up in me this desire, because of what I'd learned and seen. Wow, I could really help people with this experience, a set of experiences, this knowledge, this path. And that's where I could really help people. I wonder how I would do that. What is that? I don't know. Maybe that's coaching. What is that? So I looked it up and I started, doing that sort of thing. But it came from my own growth. And I see that a lot. In fact, almost universally. Stuff happens. You choose not to let it ruin you, but refine you. And in that process, it seems like we're naturally, because of our natures, driven to want to help. So I'm curious, what brought you to this place where you are obviously clearly dedicated to this work?
Do you want
Well,
to start, Amy?
for me, I had been in banking and mortgage lending, and I played college basketball, and I became like aerobic instructor. So my fitness journey led me into, a international conference that I attended. And my life at the time, I actually had stopped working, when having kids, and I became a stay-at-home mom, and I began to lose myself. And I didn't have this is my previous marriage. I did not have a good relationship, and I had anxiety and depression and ADHD, and I was taking 3 medications. And I was trying to manage my emotions. And so when I came across this at this conference, this gentleman speaking about life coaching, and he said this industry is going to like take off in the next 10 years. And I sat in on one of his workshops, and I watched a woman's life transform in like 15 to 20 minutes. And I said, I want to learn to do that. And I hired my own coach. I had an injury, and I was pushing myself so hard I went to 2 doctors and they said, this is the only body you're going to have. You need to tone it down. Let's do low impact. I'm like, what's low impact? I don't even know what that is. And so I got into yoga, and she also was a coach, and I began to work with her, and it transformed my life so much that I had such a strong desire to help others, because as a aerobic instructor, I would come in all stressed out, and I'm like, I'm going to figure out how to have peace in my life. And all my people would say, well, when you figure it out, you let us know. And so I just was so determined to find peace and wisdom and strength. It was the journey that I went through, because I had lost myself as a mother. I had a career, and then I stayed at home, and my marriage, he got into the internet. My husband at the time got into the internet business when it first started, and he did very well. So we had this wonderful financial lifestyle, but I didn't have any of the emotional connection, and that is what I craved. And so I got into coaching because of how bad I felt, and I saw the difference that it made. And so as I changed my life, I automatically wanted to help everybody. I even started a Sunday school class called Lives of Purpose. And I mean, I was just constantly wanting to share what I was learning because it was so helpful to me.
So that's exactly what I just said. So there's another example. I knew it. It's a 100% thing. So you can prove me wrong, LoriAnn, but I doubt it. What got you into coaching?
Well, mine started through I had not processed some grief. So my mom and dad were killed in a car accident when I was 18. And then 6 weeks later, I got married to my husband, which 43 years later, we're still married. But even when there was a guy who walked through our wedding line, and he looked at me and he said, "You don't have to do this. Do you know that the statistics of this lasting are not going to last, and that you can get out now? Like, you don't have to make this choice." And I'm like, I was already married. It was in like my wedding reception line that he said that to me. And so I think that kind of played in the back of my mind a little bit too. But I had all these heavy burdens. I was left guardian over my sisters, and I was 18, my husband was 25, and my sisters were 15 and 17. And so when I got into this, I was 45 years old. And I just thought, I've got to write a book. I've got to do something, because I literally was sitting on a couch and my arms were handicapped. I couldn't wash my hair. I couldn't do anything. I just had so many physical, emotional, mental things going on. I had 5 kids. My husband's very successful. I left my hospital career to, have my 5th baby. And there's all of these things that, as a mom, like Amy said, when I was 45, that's when my last child was in school full time. And I thought, where am I? Who am I? I don't even know how to have fun. And so what I did was I wrote a book about why the roses cry, the power of healing through journal writing. So my whole thing I did was just write in a journal, try and, get everything out through writing. That was successful for me. But then I thought, I want to have fun. I need to get back some fun in my life. So I found this lady that taught ideal life vision. And I went through her course and did all of that and became a certified coach in helping people create their ideal life. And the best part of it was, you didn't have to talk about all your crap in the past that you went through. You didn't have to bring up all those emotions and go through all of that turmoil. And I wasn't being a trauma healing coach or anything. It was how to create your ideal life. And I saw immediate results with people. I could go through, and 5 areas of your life, I'm kind of one of those, I want to implement it. I want it done. I want it fast. I want to see results. And so I would help them in these 5 areas of their life. And within like 3 weeks, as they finished writing it, recording it, listening to it, because your own voice you listen to and believe the very most. So we started changing those things in their head of what they were saying to themselves. And they're starting to have these amazing lives. So it was an immediate reward. And then I've done it for years and years and years with people, and I never really charged for it. I just gave it away and just helped so many people with it. And then thought, I really should put a program together. I really should get this all working. And so for the last 5 years, I have been able to develop that a little bit more. That's how I got started. Pure grief, trying to work through it, and I wanted to have fun.
So that's truly the same story. Your own healing and your own growth drove you to want to help other people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting how that happens? Like it's part of our very nature. Our energetic DNA is part of this stuff. All right. Well, we're at past our time, which is fine. Do either of you have any final comments about coaching, about AI, it's just a technology, but it's a big one. And, somebody said the AI is going to make more millionaires in 5 years than the internet did in 20, and all kinds of other predictions, some good, some catastrophic, and who knows. But we can see certain trends. So any final comments before we get done here today?
I love it. I think this is the best thing that you could do is educate people about this and really put it out there. And, Kellan, good job. Thanks for inviting me here and letting us share. I think people need to hear what you are creating, what you're saying, and how you're bringing a lot of people in to share. So this is so excellent. Thank you for doing this.
Well, thank you. Amy, do you have any final words for our listeners?
I think it's about educating yourself on how to use it, but stay true to yourself and keep that human connection going. And I think whatever dreams you have, they don't die. This is just a resource that you use. Don't depend on it for everything, but use it wisely. And know that what you're here to do is to make an impact and to make your life good and to experience the joy of living in these human bodies and finding our way, because life is always changing. And so just keep going and know that there's so many people cheering you on. And thank you for having us on here, Kellan. I've really enjoyed our conversation and what you're doing. You're doing some amazing work in the world.
Thank you both. So listeners, I want you to listen to this a couple of times. This is a different kind of episode. We've got 2 coaches here, and if you've been following Thursdays, you know this, who are all different, and every one of them's different. But these 2 women have expressed something that I talk about a lot, which is the need for us to be what we talk about, to embody the truths that we teach. And both of their stories illustrate that truth. So take this to heart, examine yourself. Don't be afraid to tell the truth, because in the truth is where power lies. And if you move forward, even a little at a time, you can become unstoppable on the way to create your ultimate life.
Never hold back and you'll never ask why. Open your heart and this time around.
Right here, right now. Your opportunity for massive growth is right in front of you. Every episode gives you practical tips and practices that will change everything. If you want to know more, go to KellanFluckigerMedia.com. If you want more free tools, go here, YourUltimateLife.ca. Subscribe. Share.
Stand with your heart in the sky and your feet